Of Assembly has issued a 48-hour ultimatum to Governor Siminalayi Fubara, demanding that he presents the 2025 appropriation bill before it. This follows a Supreme Court judgment that halted allocations to the state pending the passage of the appropriation law. We have more details in this report.
The House tasked its Committee on Judiciary with analyzing the Supreme Court's ruling. Presenting its report, Chairman of the committee, Dumle Mawo, made several recommendations. Chief amongst them was the urgent need for the governor to submit the budget without further delay. The Assembly emphasized that failure to do so within 48 hours could plunge the state into a financial deadlock.
Mr. Speaker, we are resolving that in the interest of the state, this House, importantly, like I said earlier, should immediately give the governor 48 hours to enable him present the appropriation bill as pronounced by the Supreme Court. I think for now, those were important areas where the committee so wish to draw this attention to, Mr. Speaker.
We don't want to be the ones responsible for dragging our state backward or holding our state to ransom. Mr. Speaker, we must do our part and call on the governor to immediately, within 14 hours, bring the 2025 appropriation bill so that the House can speedily consider it so that River State can move forward.
Meanwhile, the House rejected the governor's directive to the 23 council chairmen to hand over, arguing that heads of local government administration are not legally permitted to run the third tier of government. With this apparent leadership vacuum, the Assembly's plan to amend relevant laws could further delay the governor's proposal to conduct fresh local government elections.
The attention of this House has been automatically drawn to the lacuna in our laws, more specifically the Rivers State Local Government Law and the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission Law. The onus is now on this House of Assembly to review these two laws and come up with amendments that will make these laws to now become consistent with the Electoral Act. This definitely will be a prerequisite to any plan to conduct further local government elections in Rivers State.
As tensions build, the lawmakers have resolved to proceed on a 3-month recess starting the 7th of March 2025. Their next step, transmitting these resolutions to the executive, hoping for a swift and positive response.
Public Affairs analyst Femi Lawson joins me on the news at 10 for more updates. Mr. Lawson, some have commended Governor Fubara while others accuse him of being selective in implementing the orders of the Supreme Court. What do you make of the development?
Thank you. I think it is too early rather to blame the governor for selecting which of the orders of the Supreme Court he will be implementing. I think the governor is duty-bound by law to wholesomely ensure the implementation of the ruling of the Supreme Court, first among which he has done by asking those elected chairmen of local government to immediately hand over. And if you listen to his statewide broadcast, he asserted that he has not even had the certified true copy of the judgment. We're speaking with his team of lawyers, but I think it's a quick enough response to ask, which is one of the major issues decided upon by the Supreme Court, to ask those elected as local government chairmen to vacate their position immediately. I would expect that we will give a window of the next 2-3 days to the governor to actually, with his team, duly go through the certified true copy of the judgment, and decisions as contained in the judgment are executed. I don't think it is something that we would expect, in 24 hours, like some people have anticipated, by blaming him for selecting which of the aspects of judgment it will be. And I think the same goes to the House of Assembly. I read the resolution of the House for giving the governor 48 hours to submit the 2025 budget as ordered by the Supreme Court. I also think that is hasty, and I think members of the House of Assembly in Rivers should not be so much eager to go on recess, because that should not be more important than the business of state, the business of governance, which they have been elected to do.
All right, and staying with local government administration in Rivers State, indeed, the governor has directed the council chairman to hand over to heads of administration. But the lawmakers say that is not the way to go. They have rejected that directive of the governor. Where do you think this leaves the political situation in Rivers?
It's a bit confusing, because if you look at the structure of the local government, outside those democratically elected leaders, there's the chairman, the vice, the leader of council. If you remove all those ones as ordered by the Supreme Court, then the next person is the civil servant, who is the administrative head. In some states like Lagos, they call them council managers. In some states, they call them head of personnel management. So these are the statutory civil service administrative head in every local government areas of the country. And condemning their assumption, because there cannot be vacuum in leadership. I think the assembly should also, not just condemn the handing over of the administration of local government in Rivers to these persons, but also come out in clear terms to provide an alternative, so that we don't leave not just the local government administration in deeper confusion, but we don't also leave the people in more confusion. The people of Rivers State deserve to know who, at whatever given time, is in charge of the administration of their local government, is in charge of their resources. As we speak, the decision of the local Supreme Court have not stopped this local government from generating their IGR on a daily basis, as it exists in some local government, particularly in Rivers. So then who takes charge? If we say the head of local government administration should not, there cannot be vacuum.
All right. Now, one of the directives of the Supreme Court, which came last Friday, was that, the CBN should actually stop allocation to Rivers State until the appropriation law is duly enacted. And now the lawmakers have given the governor just 48 hours to do that. And they are planning to go on recess from the 7th of March, which will be exactly 48 hours after this directive has been given to the governor. How do you see them manage this situation and reach a resolution that citizens and residents of Rivers State would benefit from?
In the first place, I am also one of those concerned about how the Supreme Court came about that particular order asking the CBN not to release funds due to the state. I don't know if that was part of the prayers of those who went to the Supreme Court. If it were to be part of the prayer, that must have been the report. That's why a lot of us need to actually study the CTC before we make our conclusion. That nonetheless, you cannot expect a governor, if genuinely you accept you want the same copy of appropriation bill submitted to the four-man House of Assembly, to be presented to you. And if this budget is actually presented even in 48 hours, is the Rivers State House of Assembly going to keep the budget for the 3 months it's intended to go on recess? Is it going to pass the same budget in 48 hours? This tells you that the time for playing politics with the life of the people should be a bit suspended now. While the legal aspect has been decided, the political resolutions must also be adopted by actors in this dispute. If Governor Fubara is able to submit the state budget to the House of Assembly in 48 hours, let's assume, and is the House of Assembly going to be passing a budget submitted without scrutiny in 48 hours after that intends to go on 3-month vacation? So I think the Assembly should take its time, reschedule, if possible, its proposed holiday, and take time to scrutinize the budget if eventually presented by the governor. Otherwise, I don't think it is feasible for the State Assembly to expect the budget to be presented in 48 hours while it is going on break in another 48 hours after.
Public Affairs Analyst Femi Lawson, thank you very much for your time on TVC News at 10.
My pleasure.